You might believe you're doing everything right to take care of your health, eating well, walking every day, stretching, and exercising to keep your body active. But what if I told you that some of those seemingly healthy movements could actually increase your risk of stroke? And here's the surprising part. We're not talking about extreme workouts or high-impact sports. We're talking about simple, everyday movements. Bending forward too quickly to pick something up, doing fast sit-ups, holding your breath while lifting weights, or even that yoga pose that feels so relaxing. As we age, our bodies change, and they change a lot. After 60, blood pressure tends to fluctuate more quickly. Balance isn't as reliable. Blood vessels become more sensitive, and the heart demands more care. Movements that once felt harmless can suddenly cause a sudden drop in blood pressure, dizziness, temporary loss of balance, or even trigger a stroke. As Dr. Vitallis always warns, the right exercise, done the wrong way or at the wrong time, can be just as dangerous as not exercising at all. And don't think this only happens in extreme cases. Scientific studies have shown that seniors who make rapid position changes, perform strength exercises without proper breathing, or hold inverted postures are more vulnerable to blood pressure spikes, reduced oxygen to the brain, and even silent mini-strokes. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal 9 common exercises that can put your brain and cardiovascular health at risk if not done with caution. I'll share medical insights, real-life cases, and most importantly, safer alternatives so you can stay active, strong, and independent without exposing yourself to unnecessary dangers. The first movement that seems harmless but can be risky after 60 is bending forward too quickly. It looks simple, everyday, almost automatic, like picking something up from the floor, putting on your shoes, or tying your laces in a hurry. But this common gesture can trigger a dangerous reaction inside the body. When someone bends forward abruptly, blood rushes suddenly toward the head. In younger people, the body adjusts almost instantly, stabilizing blood pressure and maintaining proper circulation. But in older adults, that compensation mechanism is much slower. The result can be a sudden drop in blood pressure, known as orthostatic hypotension. The symptoms may include dizziness, blurred vision, a sensation of nearly fainting, or even a brief loss of consciousness. And the danger isn't just the discomfort itself. A simple fall can result in head injuries, fractures, and in more serious cases, it can even pave the way for a stroke. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that seniors are significantly more prone to blood pressure drops and dizziness episodes when changing positions quickly. This instability not only raises the risk of falls and injuries, but also increases the chances of neurological complications. I remember the case of a gentleman who bent forward suddenly to grab a box in his garage. He felt dizzy, lost his balance, and fell, hitting his head on the floor. The outcome was a concussion and days of recovery, all caused by what seemed like an ordinary, harmless movement. So how can you protect yourself? The answer lies in how you move. Before bending forward, plant your feet firmly on the ground, bend your knees slightly, and lower yourself slowly. Whenever possible, use support, a chair, a wall, or even a railing. This simple habit allows your body to adjust and prevents sudden blood pressure drops. And remember, there's absolutely no shame in moving slowly or using support. In fact, it's a sign of wisdom and self-care. Every cautious movement is a way to preserve your independence and protect your brain. Many people, when they feel stiffness or pain in the neck, tend to make those quick twists trying to crack the area. It feels simple, maybe even relaxing in the moment, but after the age of 60, this movement can be far more dangerous than you realize. That's because inside your neck run 2 vital arteries called the vertebral arteries. They carry blood directly to the brain, especially to the areas responsible for balance and coordination. When you twist your neck too quickly or too forcefully, those arteries can be compressed or even slightly damaged. The result can be a temporary drop in blood and oxygen flow to the brain. That may cause dizziness, blurred vision, and in more serious cases, it can even trigger a stroke. There's a documented case of a man in his early 60s who suffered a stroke just minutes after doing a stretching routine with rapid neck twists. It wasn't from a fall, it wasn't a car accident, it was simply from turning his neck too abruptly. That's how delicate this region can become as we age. I also remember a woman who used to do neck rolls every morning, believing it helped her loosen up. After a few weeks, she started experiencing frequent dizziness and blurred vision. Once she switched to slower, controlled movements, the symptoms completely disappeared. The safer way is always with gentle, deliberate movements. No snapping, no sudden twists. If your neck feels stiff, try warm compresses, light stretches, and if the discomfort persists, seek professional guidance. Your neck is one of the main pathways carrying oxygen to your brain, and any careless movement can turn into an unnecessary risk.
Strength training can be a powerful ally for your health after 60. It strengthens your muscles, improves posture, boosts independence, and even helps protect your bones against osteoporosis. But there's one very common mistake, often unnoticed, that can turn a workout into a real risk: lifting weights while holding your breath. This habit is so common that many people don't even realize they're doing it. At the moment of effort, they instinctively hold their breath, believing it gives them more strength. This is called the Valsalva maneuver. The problem is that when you do this, the pressure inside your chest and head rises rapidly. For younger people, the body can usually handle this. But after 60, especially if you already have high blood pressure or fragile blood vessels, that sudden spike can be dangerous. The heart is forced to pump against much greater resistance, and the brain's blood vessels are placed under intense strain. The risks include dizziness, fainting, and in more serious cases, even ruptured vessels leading to a stroke. A study from the American Heart Association found that sudden blood pressure surges during strength exercises, particularly when combined with breath holding, were linked to a higher risk of brain hemorrhages in older adults. I recall the story of a retired firefighter who continued to train regularly at his local gym. One day, he decided to challenge himself with a heavier bench press. In the middle of the lift, he held his breath tightly. He felt intense pressure in his head, became dizzy, and nearly blacked out. Later, he learned that he had dangerously spiked his blood pressure simply by holding his breath under strain. The solution is simple but essential. Always breathe during exercise. Exhale as you lift the weight. Inhale as you lower it. Never hold your breath. This technique protects your heart, keeps circulation stable, and drastically reduces the risk of complications. If you enjoy training, that's great, keep going. But do it safely. Use weights that challenge you but that you can control. And whenever possible, seek guidance from a professional who understands how the aging body responds differently. Exercise is health, but it has to be done with awareness. The difference between strengthening your body and putting it at rest may be as simple as remembering to breathe. At first glance, these poses seem to bring well-being. The idea is simple. Flip the body upside down to stimulate circulation and increase oxygen to the brain. But the reality is very different. When you place yourself upside down, blood rushes toward your head, causing increased pressure inside the skull. In younger, healthier people, the body can usually adapt to this. But after 60, with more fragile blood vessels and a higher risk of hypertension, that extra pressure can be dangerous. Reported symptoms include intense headaches, blurred vision, pressure behind the eyes, and in more serious cases, even small strokes. Neurologists have documented cases of seniors who developed visual disturbances and mini-stroke-like symptoms after frequently practicing these poses. One striking example was a woman who practiced the shoulder stand every morning. After several weeks, she began experiencing pounding headaches and pressure behind her eyes. When she saw her doctor, she discovered that the increased intracranial pressure caused by the pose was putting her health at risk. Once she switched to gentler stretches, her symptoms disappeared. But this doesn't mean that yoga should be avoided. The key is to choose safer alternatives. Instead of positions that place the entire body upside down, restorative poses can be used, like the well-known legs up the wall. This movement also supports circulation, but without the danger of overloading the blood vessels in the head. And don't forget, always let your instructor know about your age, your medical history, and especially any blood pressure or circulation problems. This way, they can adapt the practice to your needs. In short, yoga can absolutely be a powerful ally for healthy aging, but some poses need to be avoided or replaced. The important thing is to respect your body's limits and remember that healthy movement is the one that strengthens, not the one that puts your life at risk. At first, these poses seem to bring well-being. The idea is simple. Flip the body upside down to stimulate circulation and increase oxygen to the brain. But the reality is very different. When you place yourself upside down, blood rushes towards your head, causing increased pressure inside the skull. In younger, healthier people, the body can usually adapt to this. But after 60, with more fragile blood vessels and a higher risk of hypertension, that extra pressure can be dangerous. Reported symptoms include intense headaches, blurred vision, pressure behind the eyes, and in more serious cases, even small strokes. Neurologists have documented cases of seniors who developed visual disturbances and mini-stroke-like symptoms after frequently practicing these poses. One striking example was a woman who practiced the shoulder stand every morning. After several weeks, she began experiencing pounding headaches and pressure behind her eyes. When she saw her doctor, she discovered that the increased intracranial pressure caused by the pose was putting her health at risk. Once she switched to gentler stretches, her symptoms disappeared. But this doesn't mean that yoga should be avoided. The key is to choose safer alternatives. Instead of positions that place the entire body upside down, restorative poses can be used, like the well-known legs up the wall. This movement also supports circulation, but without the danger of overloading the blood vessels in the head. And don't forget, always let your instructor know about your age, your medical history, and especially any blood pressure or circulation problems. This way they can adapt the practice to your needs. In short, yoga can absolutely be a powerful ally for healthy aging, but some poses need to be avoided or replaced. The important thing is to respect your body's limits and remember that healthy movement is the one that strengthens, not the one that puts your life at risk. For decades, sit-ups were seen as one of the most important exercises to strengthen the core, improve posture, and even prevent back pain. Many of us grew up believing that doing hundreds of sit-ups was the ultimate sign of health and fitness. But after the age of 60, the reality is very different. Certain fast abdominal movements can carry serious risks for circulation and even the brain. Here's why. When you perform traditional sit-ups, especially rapid, repetitive ones, your body experiences a sudden spike in pressure inside your chest and abdomen. This effect becomes even more intense if you hold your breath while doing them. That pressure surge interferes with blood flow, making it harder for oxygen to reach the brain. Think of it like squeezing a garden hose. For a few seconds, the flow slows down or even stops. In the body, this can translate into dizziness, blurred vision, or even fainting. Researchers in the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that rapid abdominal exercises in older adults were linked to temporary decreases in blood flow to the brain, especially when done without enough rest between sets. I remember a gentleman at a community wellness class who used to feel lightheaded and disoriented every time he performed quick sit-ups. His doctor explained that the pressure created during those exercises was reducing blood flow to his brain. Once he switched to slower, controlled core movements, the problem disappeared completely.
But that doesn't mean you should give up on core strength. The key is to choose adapted, controlled exercises. Movements like pelvic tilts while lying down, seated leg lifts, or even gentle seated marches are safe and effective ways to strengthen your core without overloading your circulation. The golden rule is simple. Always breathe through the movement. Never hold your breath. Move slowly and with control. Listen to your body's signals. After 60, the goal isn't a six-pack. The goal is to strengthen your center safely, protecting your posture, balance, and independence in daily life. The treadmill is often seen as one of the safest, most practical ways to exercise. After all, it doesn't depend on the weather, it doesn't require much space, and it allows you to control both speed and incline. But after the age of 60, there's a hidden danger: running too fast on the treadmill without holding on to the side rails. As we age, our reaction time slows down and our coordination isn't as sharp as it once was. When someone runs at high speed without support, even a small misstep can lead to a serious accident. A tiny slip can result in a hard fall, causing fractures, head injuries, or in those with cardiovascular conditions, even triggering a stroke or cardiac event. Data from the National Institutes of Health, NIH, shows that seniors are among the groups with the highest rate of treadmill-related accidents, and in many cases the reason was simple: they weren't using the safety rails. Even brief moments of instability can place dangerous stress on the heart, especially for those with high blood pressure or fragile blood vessels. I recall the story of a 70-year-old man who ran on the treadmill every morning, always hands-free. One day, a minor trip turned into a major accident, and he fell hard, suffering a head injury. His doctor later commented that simply keeping his hands lightly on the rails could likely have prevented the fall. This doesn't mean you need to avoid the treadmill. The key is learning how to use it safely. Choose a steady, moderate pace that allows you to stay in control. If you feel the slightest instability, use the side rails. And here's an important tip: instead of running at high speeds, try walking on an incline. You'll get a strong cardiovascular workout with far fewer risks. Remember, safety always comes first. After all, exercising to improve your health is only worthwhile if it also keeps you safe from avoidable accidents. The plank is without a doubt one of the most popular exercises in the fitness world. It strengthens the core, improves posture, stabilizes the spine, and requires no equipment at all. But after the age of 60, holding the plank too long, especially if you hold your breath while doing it, can turn into a silent danger for your heart and brain. When you're in a plank position, all your muscles are working intensely to stabilize your body. That effort increases pressure inside your abdomen and chest. And if you also hold your breath, which is very common and almost automatic during this exercise, your blood pressure can spike sharply, interfering with normal circulation. It's like tightening a valve that your heart has to push against. The result? A sudden rise in blood pressure, reduced blood flow to the brain, and symptoms like dizziness, headaches, or even near fainting. Research published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that breath holding during isometric exercises like planks caused dangerous increases in systolic blood pressure, even in well-trained adults. Now imagine the risk for older adults with fragile blood vessels or pre-existing hypertension. I recall the story of a 70-year-old man who ran on the treadmill every morning, always hands-free. One day, a minor trip turned into a major accident, and he fell hard, suffering a head injury. His doctor later commented that simply keeping his hands lightly on the rails could likely have prevented the fall. This solution is simple and effective. Stick to short sets of 20 to 30 seconds. Breathe continuously and deeply throughout the exercise. Rest between sets and never push past your limit. That way you keep all the benefits of the plank without putting your cardiovascular system at risk. After 60, it's not about how long you can hold the pose. It's about staying strong and healthy with safety first. Standing up and sitting down seems like the simplest thing in the world, something we do dozens of times every day. But when this movement turns into exercise, like doing fast squats or repeated sit-to-stand routines, it can be a serious risk factor for falls and even strokes in people over 60. The problem lies in what doctors call postural hypotension. When you change positions quickly, your body needs to adjust circulation to compensate for gravity. In younger people, this adjustment happens almost instantly, but as we age, that response slows down. That means when you stand up too quickly, your brain may not receive enough blood in that moment, causing dizziness, blurred vision, or even fainting.
Studies published in the Journal of the American Medical Association show that older adults who change positions rapidly are significantly more likely to report dizziness and to suffer falls, often leading to serious injuries such as fractures or head trauma. I recall a friend who decided to add fast-paced squats to his morning routine, thinking it would help him stay agile. Within days, he began experiencing intense dizziness right after exercising, sometimes nearly losing his balance. Once he slowed his pace and added pauses between each repetition, the symptoms disappeared. The good news is that this exercise doesn't need to be eliminated. In fact, movements like squats are excellent for maintaining strength and mobility, but the key lies in how you perform them. Stand up gradually without rushing. Breathe steadily throughout the movement. Don't hold your breath. If you feel unstable, support yourself with a chair or a sturdy surface. After 60, it's not about speed, it's about safety and consistency. Performing simple movements with awareness may be the key to maintaining independence and preventing dangerous falls. We've now reached the end of our list of 9 exercises and movements that may increase the risk of stroke or falls after the age of 60. And let me be clear, this is not about being afraid of exercise. Quite the opposite. Movement is one of the greatest tools we have to preserve health, independence, and quality of life at any age. But as we get older, our bodies respond differently. Blood pressure changes faster, balance isn't as stable, and circulation requires extra care. That's why awareness is the very first step toward protection. Small adjustments make a huge difference. Breathing correctly, respecting your limits, avoiding sudden movements, and choosing safer alternatives. Remember, it's not about doing more, it's about doing better. The right exercise at the right time, performed the right way, can become one of your strongest allies against aging. If this video helped you see your routine in a new light, share it with someone you care about. And don't forget to subscribe to Longevity, because every week we bring you valuable tips to help you live healthier, stronger, and safer after 60. Taking care of your body is taking care of your life, and every conscious choice you make today opens the door to a stronger and healthier tomorrow. See you in the next video.